オラ皆さん、こんにちは日本人、こんばんはアメリカ人、コキさんです。はじめまして、よろしくお願いします。俺は、The Impossible Man の小説家、そして、Japan Society の日本語の学生です。です。あ今日はあ君の名はとはがくれを読みます。君の名はのひらがなの本はがくれの英語の本今英語のセグメントは、はがくれ、はがくれ、はがくれ、を読みます。23ページ。23ページ。君の名は、166ページ。エンド。almost done. はい。はい。すみません。すみません。すみません、皆さん。 すみません、皆さん。ノイズ、バックグラウンドノイズ。ごめんなさい、皆さん。オーディオは悪い。マイクロフォン新しい。エコー。いいですか？はい。はい。チェック、チェック。チェック、チェック。うん。チェック、チェック。ごめんなさい、皆さん。ごめんなさい。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます、皆さん。今、英語のコメント、セグメント、あがこれ、英語を読みます。ページ、23ページ。 For you English listeners, I apologize. I have a lot of background noise going on, along with the echo, since I have a high ceiling, and I've been trying to adjust my new microphone for the past couple of weeks. So I'm sorry that took 12 minutes of your time to get this straightened out. I'm hoping that I could get this solved soon enough. Getting the microphone volume correct. I don't know. There's supposed to be some kind of sweet spot or something, but I can't seem to find it. But let me not waste any more of your time. Thank you very much for your patience. Please note that you are cordially invited to subscribe to my channel. Please select the subscribe button below and RSVP in the comments section. Okay, so here's where I'm at. Okay, so let's begin. Okay. So here we are. Once when Lord Mitsushige was a little boy and was supposed to recite from a copybook for the priest Kayon, he called the other children and acolytes and said, "Please come here and listen. It's difficult to read if there are hardly any people listening." The priest was impressed and said to the acolytes, "That's the spirit in which to do everything." That's interesting. Very interesting. Next one. Every morning, one should first do reverence to his master and parents, and then to his patron deities and guardian Buddhas. If he will only make his master first in importance, his parents will rejoice, and the gods and Buddhas will give their assent. For a warrior, there is nothing other than thinking of his master. If one creates this resolution within himself, he will always be mindful of the master's person and will not depart from him even for a moment. Moreover, a woman should consider her husband first, just as he considers his master first. That's a very interesting train of thought from back then. Even back then, huh? History has always shown that, hey. According to a certain person, a number of years ago, Matsuguma Kyoan told this story. So this is Kyoan's story. This is what he said. In the practice of medicine, there is a differentiation of treatment according to the yin and yang of men and women. There is also a difference in pulse. In the last 50 years, however, men's pulse has become the same as women's. Notice this: in the treatment of eye disease, I applied women's treatment to men and found it suitable. When I observed the application of men's treatment to men, there was no result. Thus, I knew that men's spirit had weakened and that they had become the same as women, and the end of the world had come. Since I witnessed this with certainty, I kept it a secret. So, here is Tsunotomo's thoughts regarding that story. When looking at the men of today with this in mind, those who could be thought to have a woman's pulse are many indeed, and those who seem like real men few. Because of this, if one were to make a little effort, he would be able to take the upper hand quite easily. That there are few men who are able to cut well in beheadings is further proof that men's courage has waned. And when one comes to speak of kaishaku, it has become an age of men who are prudent and clever at making excuses. 40 or 50 years ago, when such things as maranuki were considered manly, a man wouldn't show an unscarred thigh to his fellows, so he would pierce it himself. All of men's work is a bloody business. That fact today is considered foolish. Affairs are finished cleverly with words alone, and jobs that require effort are avoided. I would like young men to have some understanding of this. Huh. His thinking of how to be a man, huh? Even back then, men feared being emasculated. Next paragraph. The priest Tannen used to say, "People come to excuse me. People come to no understanding because priests teach only the doctrine of no mind." So, what is called no mind is a mind that is pure and lacks complication. This is interesting, Tsunotomo says. Lord Sananori said, in the midst of a single breath, where perversity cannot be held, is the way. So Tsunotomo says, if so, then the way is one. But there is no one who can understand this clarity at first. Purity is something that cannot be attained except by piling effort upon effort. So these were his retorts, Tsunotomo's retorts towards these thoughts. Here's another one. Okay, here's the next one. There's nothing that we should be quite so grateful for as the last line of the poem that goes, "When your own heart asks." It can probably be thought of in the same way as the Nebutsu, and previously it was on the lips of many people. Recently, people who are called clever adorn themselves with superficial wisdom and only deceive others. For this reason, they are inferior to dull-witted folk. A dull-witted person is direct. If one looks deeply into his heart with the above phrase, there will be no hidden places. It is a good examiner. One should be of the mind that meeting this examiner will not be embarrassed. That's a rebuke on people who call themselves clever. In other words, you're not as clever as you think you are. Interesting. Next one. This is a short one. The word gen means illusion or apparition. In India, a man who uses conjury is called genjutsushi, a master of illusion technique. Everything in this world is but a marionette show. Thus, we use the word gen. It's like people who smile. It's like people who smile, and you could tell if that there's fakeness behind the smile. Like everybody smiles to hide something. I think that's the thinking behind that. Maybe not. Who knows? I could be wrong. All right, next paragraph. To hate injustice and stand on righteousness is a difficult thing. To hate injustice and stand on righteousness is a difficult thing. Furthermore, to think that being righteous is the best one can do, and to do one's utmost to be righteous will, on the contrary, bring many mistakes. Interesting. Let's repeat that again. Furthermore, to think that being righteous is the best one can do, and to do one's utmost to be righteous will, on the contrary, bring many mistakes. The way is in a higher place than righteousness. This is very difficult to discover, but it is the highest wisdom. When seen from this standpoint, things like righteousness are rather shallow. If one does not understand this on his own, it cannot be known. There is a method of getting to this way. However, even if one cannot discover it by himself, this is found in consultation with others. Even a person who has not attained this way sees others from the side. It is like the saying from the game of Go, "He who sees from the side has 8 eyes." Ooh. The saying, "Thought by thought we see our own mistakes," also means that the highest way is in discussion with others. Listening to the old stories and reading books are for the purpose of sloughing off one's own discrimination and attaching oneself to that of the ancients. Ooh. Another strong criticism from Tsunotomo, this time regarding people who believe themselves to be righteous and believe they are in the path of righteousness. Omoshiroi. Interesting. Okay. So this is him quoting a swordsman. A certain swordsman in his declining years said the following. Okay, so this is what the swordsman said. In one's life, there are levels in the pursuit of study. In the lowest level, a person studies but nothing comes of it, and he feels that both he and others are unskillful. At this point, he is worthless. In the middle level, he is still useless, but is aware of his own insufficiencies and can also see the insufficiencies of others. In a higher level, he has pride concerning his own ability, rejoices in praise from others, and laments the lack of ability in his fellows. This man has worth. In the highest level, a man has the look of knowing nothing. These are the levels in general, but there is one transcending level, and this is the most excellent of all. This person is aware of the endlessness of entering deeply into a certain way, and never thinks of himself as having finished. He truly knows his own insufficiencies and never in his whole life thinks that he has succeeded. He has no thoughts of pride, but with self-abasement knows the way to the end. It is said that Master Yagyu once remarked, "I do not know the way to defeat others, but the way to defeat myself." Throughout your life, advance daily, becoming more skillful than yesterday, more skillful than today. This is never ending. So, this certain swordsman, I wonder if that certain swordsman is Miyamoto Musashi, since he mentions Master Yagyu. If I understand correctly, they were acquainted with each other. I think I have a book from Yagyu. I'll have to take a look. I think, was it The Unfettered Mind? I'll have to take a look and see. Because these guys like know each other. Let's see. I'm wondering if that is Miyamoto Musashi saying that. That would be interesting. Trying to keep it secret. Okay, so here's the next one. Among the maxims of Lord Naoshige's wall, there was this one. Matters of great concern should be treated lightly. So that's the maxim on the wall. Okay, matters of great concern should be treated lightly. Interesting. Shouldn't be treated more importantly? Well, let's see. Because Master Ite commented on this. Matters of small concern should be treated seriously. So yeah, so you see there's two conflicting thought here regarding great concerns. Regarding concern, great concern should be treated lightly and small concern should be treated seriously. So what is Tsunotomo's thoughts here? Let's read on. Among one's affairs, there should not be more than 2 or 3 matters of what one could call great concern. If these are deliberated upon during ordinary times, they can be understood. Thinking about things previously and then handling them lightly when the time comes is what this is all about. To face an event and solve it lightly is difficult if you're not resolved beforehand, and there will always be uncertainty in hitting your mark. However, if the foundation is laid previously, you can think of the saying, matters of great concern should be treated lightly, as your own basis for action. So it seems he favors Lord Naoshige's maxim over Master Ite's maxim. That's very interesting. Next one. Here we go. A certain person spent several years of service in Osaka and then returned home. When he made his appearance at the local bureau, everyone was put out and he was made a laughingstock because he spoke in the Kamigata dialect. Seen in this light, when one spends a long time in Edo or the Kamigawa area, he had better use his native dialect even more than usual. When in a more sophisticated area, it is natural that one's disposition be affected by different styles. But it is vulgar and foolish to look down upon the ways of one's own district as being boorish, or to be even a bit open to the persuasion of the other place's ways, and to think about giving up one's own. That one's own district is unsophisticated and unpolished is a great treasure. Imitating another style is simply a sham. A certain man said to the priest Shugaku, "The Lotus Sutra sex character is not good because it's so fearsome." Shugaku replied, "It is by reason of this fearsome character that it is the Lotus Sutra sect. If its character were not so, it would be a difficult sect altogether." This is reasonable. I'm a lot. Okay, next up. At the time when there was a council concerning the promotion of a certain man, the council members were at the point of deciding that promotion was useless because of the fact that the man had previously been involved in a drunken brawl. So he was screwed up, and now he's going to pay the price. But someone said, "If we were to cast aside every man who had made a mistake once, useful men could probably not be come by." That's how he translated, huh? So that's how Scott translates this. Useful men could probably not be come by. You don't have to write it that literally, Mr. Wilson. A man who makes a mistake once will be considerably more prudent and useful because of his repentance. I feel that he should be promoted. Someone else then asked, "Will you guarantee him?" The man replied, "Of course I will." The others asked, "But what will you guarantee him?" And he replied, "I can guarantee him by the fact that he is a man who has erred once. A man who has never once erred is dangerous." This said, the man was promoted. Okay, that's actually pretty clever. How do you guarantee? Well, I can guarantee you that he did make an error. I could confirm that. But a man who never erred, I don't know if I could confirm that. How do I know he's not lying? That was a very interesting conversation. So fascinating. Back in the feudal era. What was this? Back in Tsunotomo's era. Okay, here's the next paragraph. At the time of a deliberation concerning criminals, Nakano Kazama proposed making the punishment 1 degree lighter than what would be appropriate. This is a treasury of wisdom that only he was the possessor of. At that time, though there were several men in attendance, if it had not been for Kazama alone, no one would have opened his mouth. For this reason, he is called Master Commencement and Master 25 Days. It's interesting that he would give a lighter sentence. Next paragraph. A certain person was brought to shame because he did not take revenge. The way of revenge lies in simply forcing one's way into a place and being cut down. There is no sham in this. By thinking that you must complete the job, you will run out of time. By considering things like how many men the enemy has, time piles up. In the end, you will give up. No matter if the enemy has thousands of men, there is fulfillment in simply standing them off and being determined to cut them all down, starting from one end. You will finish the greater part of it. Concerning the Knight of Soul of Asano's Ronin, the fact that they did not commit seppuku at the Sekakuji was an error, for there was a long delay between the time their lord was struck down and the time when they struck down the enemy. If Lord Kira had died of illness within that period, it would have been extremely regrettable. Because the men of Kamigata era have a very clever sort of wisdom, they do well at praiseworthy acts, but cannot do things indiscriminately, as was done in the Nagasaki fight. Although all things are not to be judged in this manner, I mention in the investigation of the way of the samurai. When the time comes, there is no moment for reasoning, and if you have not done your inquiring beforehand, there is most often shame. Reading books and listening to people's talk are for the purpose of prior resolution. Above all, the way of the samurai should be in being aware that you do not know what is going to happen next, and inquiring every item day and night. Victory and defeat are matters of the temporary force of circumstances. The way of avoiding shame is different. It is simply in death. Even if it seems certain that you will lose, retaliate. Neither wisdom nor technique has a place in this. A real man does not think of victory or defeat. He plunges recklessly towards an irrational death. By doing this, you will awaken from your dreams. Ooh, that's pretty morbid. That's pretty morbid. Okay, next one. There are two things that will blemish a retainer, and these are riches and honor. If one but remains in strained circumstances, he will not be marred. Once there was a certain man who was very clever, but it was his character to always see the negative points of his jobs. In such a way, one will be useless. If one does not get into his head from the very beginning that the world is full of unseemly situations, for the most part his demeanor will be poor, and he will not be believed by others. And if one is not believed by others, no matter how good a person he may be, he will not have the essence of a good person. This can also be considered as a blemish. Ooh. So from what I can understand, what he's saying here is that things happen, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? They're just situations that might be out of your control, and you need to not dwell over it. Because if you do, then you're basically blemishing your role as a retainer. That's interesting. And you could be a good guy all you want, but if you're still whining and crying, if you're whining and crying about how everything is against you instead of trying to do something about it, that's what I'm taking away from that. If I'm reading, if what I'm understanding is correct, well, not correct, but you know, if that's what I'm understanding, he's trying to explain regarding retainer and blemishes, and their blemishes. Here's the next paragraph. There was a man who said, and quote, such and such a person has a violent disposition, but this is what I said right to his face. Now, Tsunetomo says, this was an unbecoming thing to say, and it was said simply because he wanted to be known as a rough fellow. It was rather low, and it could be seen that he was still rather immature. Excuse me. It is because a samurai has correct manners that he is admired. Speaking of other people in this way is no different from an exchange between low-class spearmen. It is vulgar. Aggression. That's interesting. If this is the actual translation, they were saying they had these sayings like this back then, all the way back then as we do now. This is what I said right to his face. We say that today. You know, whenever we have a conversation with a person, we're angry about another person. We'll be like, this is what I said to his face. I said it right to his face. That's very interesting. If this is the actual translation, Tsunotomo, that this type of saying existed even back then. Remarkable how words and statements transcend, carry on through time. Next paragraph. It is not good to settle into a set of opinions. It is a mistake to put forth effort and obtain some understanding and then stop at that. At first putting forth great effort to be sure that you have grasped the basics, then practicing so that they may come to fruition is something that will never stop for your whole lifetime. Do not rely on following the degree of understanding that you have discovered, but simply think, this is not enough, quote unquote. Quote unquote, this is not enough. One should search throughout his whole life how best to follow the way, and he should study, setting his mind to work without putting things off. Within this is the way. So in other words, don't just settle. Whatever opinions you have, don't just stay settled for it. Just keep on researching, keep on looking. Interesting. Okay, next paragraph. These are from the recorded sayings of Yamamoto Jinenmon. This is what Yamamoto Jinenmon said. If you can understand one affair, you will understand 8. An affected laugh shows lack of respect in a man and lewdness in a woman. Whether speaking formally or informally, one should look his listener in the eye. A polite greeting is done at the beginning and finish. Speaking with downcast eyes is carelessness. It is carelessness to go about with one's hands inside the slits in the sides of his hakama, or in this case, hands in the pockets for us in modern day. After reading books and the like, it is best to burn them or throw them away. Whoa. It is said that reading books is the work of the imperial court, but the work of the house of Nakano is found in military valor, grasping the staff of oak. I'm not an advocate of book burning. I don't agree with this one. I wouldn't even throw it in the trash. Just hand it to somebody else and let someone else read it. Just pass it down. Pass it on. Always pass books on. Don't destroy them. A samurai with no group and no horse is not a samurai at all. Okay. A kusamono is a man to rely upon. I'll have to look that up someday. Kusamono. Kusamono. It is said that one should rise at 4 in the morning, bathe and arrange his hair daily, eat when the sun comes up, and retire when it becomes dark. That's some discipline there. And a samurai will use a toothpick even though he has not eaten. Inside the skin of a dog, outside the hide of a tiger. So this is Jinenmon's thoughts. Interesting. Yeah, next paragraph. How should a person respond when he is asked, as a human being, what is essential in terms of purpose and discipline? Well, first let us say, it is to become of the mind that is right now pure and lacking complications. People in general always seem to be dejected. When one has a pure and uncomplicated mind, his expression will be lively. When one is attending to matters, there is one thing that comes forth from his heart, that is in terms of one's Lord, loyalty. In terms of one's parents, filial piety. In marital affairs, bravery. And apart from that, something that can be used by all the world. This is very difficult to discover. Once discovered, it is again difficult to keep in constant effect. There is nothing outside the thought of the immediate moment. And this one is a long one. Okay, so this is a long segment here. Every morning, the samurai of 50 or 60 years ago would bathe, shave their foreheads, put lotion in their hair, cut their fingernails and toenails, rubbing them with pumice, and then with wood sorrel, and without fail pay attention to their personal appearance. It's a little vain there, but, It goes without saying that their armor in general was kept free from rust, that it was dusted, shined, and arranged. Makes sense. You don't want your equipment to be messed up. Although it seems that taking special care of one's appearance is similar to showiness, it is nothing akin to elegance. Even if you are aware that you may be struck down today and are firmly resolved to an inevitable death, if you are slain with an unseemly appearance, you will show your lack of previous resolve, will be despised by your enemy, and will appear unclean. For this reason, it is said that both old and young should take care of their appearance. Although you say that this is troublesome and time-consuming, a samurai's work is in such things. It is neither busy work nor time-consuming. In constantly hardening one's resolution to die in battle, deliberately becoming as one already dead, working at one's job, and dealing with military affairs, there should be no shame. But when the time comes, a person will be shamed if he is not conscious of these things even in his dreams, and rather passes his day in self-interest and self-indulgence. And if he thinks that this is not shameful and feels that nothing else matters as long as he is comfortable, then his dissipate and discourteous actions will be repeatedly regrettable. The person without previous resolution to inevitable death makes certain that his death will be in bad form, but if one is resolved to death beforehand, in what way can he be despicable? One should be especially diligent in this concern. Furthermore, during the last 30 years, customs have changed. Now when young samurai get together, if there is not just talk about money matters, loss and gain, secrets, clothing styles, or matters of sex, there is no reason to gather together at all. Customs are going to pieces. One can say that formerly, when a man reached the age of 20 or 30, he did not carry despicable things in his heart, and thus neither did such words appear. If an elder unwittingly said something of that sort, he thought of it as sort of injury. This new custom probably appears because people attach importance to being beautiful before society and to household finances. What things a person should be able to accomplish if he had no haughtiness concerning his place in society. Ooh, and that's with an exclamation point here. He's mad at that one. It is a wretched thing that the young men of today are so contriving and so proud of their material possessions. Men with contriving hearts are lacking in duty. Lacking in duty, they will have no self-respect. Ooh. So this is about vanity with the younger generation of samurai. That's actually very interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. Yes, I will stop here. This is page 34. Hey, not bad. Not bad. Page 34. Okay, so thank you all very much for listening in on the English segment of the show of the Hagakure. Okay. Translated by William Scott Wilson, written by Yamamoto Tsunetomo. And now, everyone, turn to the Japanese language segment. Thank you all again. And now, 日本語を話します。皆さん、今は君の名は、約66ページ。漫画。きれい。漫画のイメージをきれい。Here we go. Yeah. どうぞ。みつはと友達、晩ご飯を食べます。はい。これ。おここ。 読みましょう。皆さん。机。でも、すみません。スタート、backwards。ここ。机には、さやちゃんが買ってきてくれた大量のカタカナ。はいはいはい。コンビニはいはい。コンビニフード、ガイちゃん、ガイチ、ガイチメン、ガイチメンに、広げられて、広げられていて、なんだか、パイ、パーティー、パーティー。はい、パーティー。パーティー。メタ雰囲気である。そんな中で、俺とテカドゥラ、テシカワラ、はい、テシカワラは地図を前に練った避難計画をさやちゃんに披露している。カタカナ。テンション。テンション。テンションのオガル BGM で、でもかけたカーブンだ。パカカタカナ。パカ パカシ、パカシ、パカシブー、yep. Pakashi. Eh? Eh? Katakana weird. Pakashi poo, Pakashi typo. Katakana typo. Dechi, Decho, Choto, Choto, Katakana. Matsudona, Saku Senkai, Saku Senkai Gi, Senku Kenkai Gi Fu no Goyaku Melodira Pa Katakana Katakana Paku no Tohi Paku no Tohi Paku no Tohi Katakana Gyunyu Gokuri no Dononde Tashikarara ga Tsuzukeru. Bakuyaku wa Fuyachi, katakana Fuyachi. Oh, not fu. Oyaji. Hey, Oyaji. Oyaji no kaisha no hokanko ni doboku yo no gata pu. Hai pu. Gata puri aru. Ato de bara ira katakana. Yeah. Bare. Bare. Bare ro shinpai 心配をしんくていならいくらでも持ち出さる説。それから次は俺はメロンパンはいカタカナメロンパンはいメロンパンの袋を開けつついなんでかやけの腹が減っていてそして三葉の体で食べるものはなんだかやけにうまい、delicious うまいで電波カタカナジャク電波ジャックさえちゃんがまたはいコレクトまたわずて声を上げるカラパンコレクトカタカナカレはいパンはいカラパンカタカナカラパンはかじりながら勅使河原が大切するこんな田舎の防災無線は伝送集波数とキロ用の常時波数さえは簡単に乗っ取れるでな安静に特定の周波数が重ねられとるだけで スーパーカー。カタカナ、スーパーカー。スピーカー。スピーカー。スピーカー。はい。カタカナ、スピーカーが。スピーカーが。作動する仕組みやから。メロンパンはメロンパンを片手に俺はどこパ言葉を引き継ぐ。だから学校の放送室からでも街中はい、コレクト。街中漢字街中に避難指示を流せる。俺は糸森町の地図を指さす。宮水信者を主人に直径1.2 km ほどの円が書き込んであり、俺はそれをぐるぐると指でなぞる。すみません。これが隕石の予想被害被害に糸森高校はほらこの外側にある。すみません。高校の場所をトントンと叩く。だから町民の避難場所もここの校庭にすればいい。それって恐るトイフにさやちゃん学知を開くかカンペ 完璧。完璧さん。完璧さん。ザヤに。そう言いつつも、最後、そう言いつつも、最後まで残していたいちごをパクリと口に運ぶさやちゃんに犯罪でもしないとこの範囲の難言は動かさないよ。と、クール、クールに行って、俺は地図の上にちらばったメープルカタカナまブルマブルマブルチョコレートマブルチョコレートマブルチョコレートマブルチョコレートをテレザと貸して見せる。そう。本罪でも何でもいいから、要は、この円の中の人だらを外に出せばいいだけなのだ。なんか別人みたいやな。俺はにっと笑ってメロンパンを大きくかじる。この体に 入っていると、言葉遣いはなんとなく女ぽくなってしまのだけれど、でも俺はもう三葉として振る舞うことなんてとくに放棄している。全部を割ってこちらが無事でてくれたら後のことはどうでもいい。今ってさえればどうとでもなる。でも放送はさえちゃん担当ねとにこやかに俺は告げる。なんでよ。だって放送部定書しかももうほの姉ちゃんほえの姉ちゃん役場の妄想担当やし無線の周波数も時々に聞き出しといてくれよと確からそんな突然にさえちゃんの講義を無視し、確からは嬉しそうに自分を指さす。で、俺が爆薬転倒。そして私は蝶々に会いに行く。自分を指さしながら俺もいい。とぜくするさやちゃんに勅使河原が説明を続ける。さっき言った手順 順で避難のきっかけは多分俺らで作れる。でも最後は役場や帳簿に出てきても笑わんと177はい。8、188、188世帯のすみません。世帯の全員はさすがに動かしきれんやろう。すみません。ごめんなさい、皆さん。だから、町長の接続が必要なんだよと俺はいい娘の私からちゃんと話せばきっとわかってもらえると思う。確からは腕組をし完璧な作戦やとちがちさんしつつむとはい、コレクト。むとなずいている俺も同じ気持ちだ。確かにちょっとオラっぽいやら方ではあるけれど他に手はないと思う。感心してくれているの？顔切れているのか？さやちゃんが口をめけて俺たちを見る。まあ、約束まで 考えとるなとは思うけどな。どうせもしもの話やろ。ここに行ったっての思いがけない問いかけに言葉につまるすみません。水を飲みます。ここ170ページ。いやもしも持っていいか、さえちゃんが乗ってくれないと、この計画、この計画は機能しない。なんと言えばいいのか。俺は言葉を探す。そうともかぎちゃんぞと当然に確からが大声でスマホの画面を突き出した。糸森小ろやできたかしとるか。俺とさやちゃんはより目になって画面を見る。町の病院。カタカナ。ホームホームページ。ホームページらしきサイトに糸森子の由来とのおみ出し、さらに1200 1200。はい、カレット。1200。漢字。よし。1200面前の隕石湖。日本 日本で、日本では、極めて稀の文字、隕石こや、少なくとも、どは、この場所には、隕石が落ちたんや、勅使河原のどやがおと、その言葉が、かふり、カタカナ、correcto, catchy, なく、かちり、かちりと俺の頭の中に何かをはめる。それが何かはわからめまま。俺は声を出している。そうだよ。だから場所、はい。場所に水星の絵がだんだ。俺は思い至る1200年周期のアイバイトカタカナアイバイトYeah.ティアマト。はい。ティアマト。はい。ティアマト。ティアマト、水星。そして、糸森子は1200年前の隕石子。隕石も水星方とともに1200年ごとにも垂らされるのだ。よくされた薬剤だからこそ避けることもできるは図の災害。あの絵もカタカナメッセージメッセージ であり、あり警告なんだ。思いがけない見方を言ったよ。泣きも血になる。血になる。すみません。気持ちになる。ちっとして言われなくなる。全部千年も前から準備されていたことなんだ。いいね。カタカナ。てし。おねてし。カタカナてし。思わず拳を突き出すと、勅使河原も、徳星をあらせてくれる。いける。これはいける。やるぜ。俺たちで。立ち鉄。俺たちはさやちゃんに向かってズバを飛ばす勢いで声を揃えた。何を言っているんだ。お前は分厚い段ブラカタカナ。ボール。ドンボール。ドンボール。はい。ダンボールに、ひさみ。カタカナ。はさみ。はい。はさみを入れるようなざらついた重い声。俺はますます押せる。押し引からないように声を放る。だから念のために町民を避難させないと。少し黙れ。それはその指紋大声ではないのに。 ピシリと俺の声をせき止めてしまう。大きいページ。三葉の父親である宮水町長は大義そうに目をつむり、町長室の川張りの椅子に背を預けるギギギと熱い川が音を立ててきしむ。それからゆっくりと息を吐き、窓の外に目を移す。午後のららかな日差しの炎影が揺れている。彗星が熱に割れてこの町に落ちる。500人一応はい、correct。蝶が死ぬかもしれないだと指先でトントンと机を叩きながらたっぷりと間を得け、ようやく俺を見る。俺は膝の裏に割と汗をかいている。緊張すると三葉はここに汗をかくのでと俺は初めて知る。信じられない話だってのはわかるよ。でもちゃんと根拠出てよくもそんなゼレ事を俺の前で突然怒鳴りづけられる。 うん。蝶々はみげん、みせん、みけんのしわを深くし、もげんはみゆみずの血筋か、といとりことのように小さくずぶやきいるような目で俺をますぐに見て、おいみつはと低い本気で本気で言っているなら、お前は病気だ。夏、俺は言葉がつけない。ずい戦々correcto? 30分。ごめんなさい。30分。はい。30分。つい30分前の物質での地震がもどこにも残ってないことに気づく。全然見当違いのことをしている。そんな不安がみるみる募る。いや、違う。これは妄想でもないし、俺は病気でもない。俺はみつはみつはみつは車を出してやるがろ。不意に心配そうな口調になり、蝶々が中秋を待ち上げる。カタカナ。ピッキョ、ありがとう。こんにちは。元気ですか？ うんうんあ、ダイヤル、ダイヤルうん。ダイヤル、ダイヤルボタン、ダイヤルボタン。カタカナ、ダイヤルボタンを押して、どこかに電話をかけながら俺にしないの病院 病院 hospital 病院でシャはい病院で医者に見てもらえその後でならもう一度話を聞いてやる。その言葉が言葉が俺の体を不快に揺さぶる。こいつは俺を自分の娘を本気で病人扱いしている。そうわかった途端全身が凍ったように冷たくたって頭の死んだ毛がはかしたみたいに熱くなった。怒りだったバカカタカナバカはいカタカナバカにしやがってそう叫んでいた。目の前に見開いた蝶々の両目がめって気づけば俺は蝶々のカタカナねネクタイネクタイはいネクタイ ネクタイをねじりあげたいた受話器はいはい、受話器。はい、はい、コレクト。受話器が机の横に落ちて、落ち、はい、という普通音を小さく上げている。はい。続くよ。いいです。174。皆さん、ありがとうございました。楽しいですか？サブスクライブをください。そしてコメントをありがとう。ありがとうございます。次のライブストリーム、キャラクターの声優、ハンディとブラッドリーとローラーとスプレーコン、スプラットバンブラウンジ、そして、君の名は、はい。はい。皆さん、今日は楽しんでください。ありがとうございました。おやすみなさい。じゃあね。